Ambika Devi has been coming here a long time, 20 years. Yeah, I know. So Ambika Devi is on a peace-building mission to help others tame thoughts and the mind. As a lifelong learner, she is a seeker of ways to help people find the timeless state of being that is meditation. Introduced to yoga and meditation in 1966, she began teaching in 1978 and received a master's degree in the education of yoga and meditation in 2012. For 21 years, she was a professor of holistic health. Her books and teachings help others overcome anxiety, restore the ability to sleep, repair communication and relationships, and advance positive decision making. If you're looking for more information, you can find her at ambikadevi.com, and you can find that in the brochure that we have here at the ashram. So I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. So we will back up and do some of the things we've done and go back over and add to, which will be great. So you don't have to feel like, oh darn, I missed it. I think that's going to be safer in there. And just as we do in all classes and sessions here, I'm going to begin with the opening chants. Yesterday I did tell the story of Ganesha. We have the picture of him there with the elephant head. And if you missed the story, you can catch me later on the beach and I'll tell it to you. And there's a Ganesha 3D one over here. So I invite you to look at it and ask me questions about the stuff he's holding. Because in these paintings, everything is symbolic, just like in life. So let's sit with a lifted chest and an open heart. And you can relax and close your eyes. And if you know our opening chants, you're more than welcome to chant along with me. But just as I always do, before I ask anyone to take a deep breath, I like to just encourage you to exhale first, to make space. And then deep breath in. And let's say ah, ah. And then another deep breath in. Let's say ooh, ooh. And another deep breath in. Letting the lips buzz. And let's put them all together in 3 ohms. Deep breath in. Gajananam Bhuttaganari Savitaham Kapita Jambupala Sarvakshitam Uma Sutam Shoka Vinashakaranam Nahamami Vigneshwara Parapankajam Sharananam Kumkumaraktavarnam Mahamatam Divyamayora Vahanam Rudrakshasunam Surasainanatam Guham Saranam Sharanam Praparaye Ya Kundendu Tusharahara Davala Ya Shubra Vastra Vritta Ya Vina Vadanda Mandita Kara Ya Shveta Padmasana Ya Brahmachuta Shankara Prabriti Bir Devai Sarapujita Samampatu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesha Jadyapaha Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Mortaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Shri Shivanandaya Te Namaha Shri Vishnu Devanandaya Te Namaha Om Sarva Mangla Mangalaye Shive Sarvada Sarike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Narayani Namostute Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavahi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavarahi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Notice how after a chant, there's still a bit of a chant happening. There's still a sound. Just like in after a yoga posture, there's the after posture. And it's in the after moments that the most important parts are happening. So it's not the action, but it's the peace and the settling afterwards. Om Bolo Satguru Swami Sivananda Maharaja Ki Jai. Om Bolo Shri Vishnu Devananda Maharaja Ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today to join me. Today is our day 3 of my mind taming sessions here. And who remembers anything about Ganesha that I spoke about yesterday? Does anybody remember anything? What do you remember? You remember how he was made. And that's one story. But if we think about it, when we make babies, if we make babies, then it's part of our flesh, right? You win this. You didn't know you were going to win a prize. Anybody else remember anything? Who remembers something else? Anybody remember anything about the tools that Ganesha holds? The one to spur you in action. Which one is that? Do you remember? When you look at the picture? Not the lotus flower, the thing that looks like an axe. You can say axe, because it's actually, in English, we would call it an elephant driving axe. Ankosh. Ankosh. Yeah, very unusual tool. We don't usually use those. Although if you're a parent, at times you might wish you had one, just to get the kid to go in the right direction, not that you're going to actually whack them with it. But we do it energetically, right? And Ganesha, what's really important about why we sing and chant to Ganesha first? Even if you weren't here yesterday. Anybody remember about the ears? Why the big ears? What are those good for? What would big ears be good for? To listening, right? And the lasso is to pull the ego away or drive you. Everything's to drive you in the right direction. So we learned in a story yesterday that, and we also were learning about relationships and communication, because that's so important, communication with ourselves, which is what Taming the Mind is all about, because we have a relationship with the mind. The mind's external. So if we see it as a trusted friend, instead of this thing that we're wrestling with that's invisible, that's inside of our heads, it's a lot easier to deal with. But that's not how Western psychology views it. So I'm definitely going in a much different direction with this. That I am not this body. I am not the mind. I am the witness of the body and the mind. And does anybody remember which path of yoga that is? Do you remember the words of it? Advaita Vedanta. So it's quite simple. That's it. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm the witness of the body and the mind. So if I ask you the question, who are you? That's the answer. I'm not, right? And we've talked about little I, right, which is the ego, right? And we even learned that in some languages, the word for I, like I'm saying, I'm Ambika, is actually ego or ego. Isn't that wild? What happened to English? English took a weird turn somewhere. So does anybody have churning thoughts? Anybody ever get kept up at night by thoughts? Yeah, be honest. Come on, we all have, right? Something happens, you come in contact with someone, somebody says something, you say something that later you're thinking, oh, what did I do? Why did I say that? Or as you look back at this lifetime and people you've come in contact with, and maybe you think, if I had taken a different step, would it have gone differently, But we're human, and we're here to have fun, right? And people can get way too serious, and that's my opinion. I'm being judgy, right? So I like to have fun, and that's what I want us to do. Come on in, and welcome back. We were just doing a little bit of review about Ganesha. So come find a spot. You can come right here. Oh, come here. Come on, come in front. I want to see your beautiful face. So yesterday we did a lot of stuff with twisting, right? And you can do it seated. Now in yoga we do in our practice here some twists at the end of class, but the stuff I taught you yesterday isn't maybe as forceful, or seem as active. And I like the idea that we're hugging ourselves and twisting. And you can do it, try it lying down or seated, just putting your right leg over your left, your right hand in your right armpit, and then twist your right shoulder back and turn your head to the left and stick your tongue in your cheek and close your eyes and just notice what that's doing. And then try making a little bit of hum sound. Notice how that opens you up instantly. Isn't that wild? Now keep your arms like that. Slowly, slowly. Turn the body the other way. Turn the head the other way. So you're like a little corkscrew. Slowly, slowly. Don't worry if you went the wrong way or you went the other way. And then stick your tongue in your right cheek. Breathing in through your nose and then just making a yummy sound. Body really likes that yummy sound. Maybe lean back a little. Maybe lean forward a little. So which yoga posture, slowly come out of it, which yoga posture do you feel like, and we've all done this, we look around the room and somebody's deeper in that pose, right? And we're thinking, how the heck did they get deeper in that pose? And what's keeping me from it? What I challenge you, are you going to come to yoga this afternoon? I'm going to go to another yoga class this afternoon. I'm making a commitment because I have to leave tomorrow during the morning yoga, so I want to do 2 today. Don't cry. So I want us to all hum and ah and you were doing yoga near me. Did you hear me doing it this morning? Did you hear me making ah noises? You heard me? You heard me making yummy noises? Yeah, see, don't be afraid. When I rock and roll, you know what that rock and roll pose is called? You know what its nickname is? The wind reliever. Now that's a sound we can't usually control. If it's coming on, it's coming out, right? And like Shrek says, better out than in, right? But if you're trying to do a forward bend and you're trying to be too quiet, don't just go, ah. And you'd be surprised, whichever of your primordial sounds wants to come out. So I give you permission, and if we're all more vocal today, more power to us. Let's see what happens. And then after yoga, definitely connect with me because I want to hear what changed for you. Because when we notice right after we do something what changes, we start a new habit, a new positive, proactive habit. So it's really important to ask ourselves, what changed for me, the little I, right? And if you've got a friend, then make a pact to say, what changed for you? Because when we were talking about relationships yesterday, what are the 3 keys, Nate? I know you got this. This is the masculine side talking to the feminine side. So what's the first thing you want to do? First, you want to apologize if you're doing something rough, right? And it could be any words you want. Good. And then what? How can I do better in the future? So we could do this with our body because we have both sides, right? And we have the ego mind talking to the physical body so we can ask it, how can I, I apologize. I apologize if I'm trying to push you to get this, piriformis muscle deep in my right butt cheek to let go. And if I go, is that helping? Is it better? Will this make it better in the future? And then what do we ask? And what else? And we listen intently. And then what's the third thing? Is there anything more? Is there anything more? So 3 times is a charm. So whenever we're in any kind of conflict or confrontation, because not all confrontation is bad, this is the secret keys to open the door to make more compassion between you and yourself or you and another person. This is the golden key of relationship wisdom. And it blows my mind that we don't teach little kids. So teach little kids this. Okay? Any little kid, especially if you catch them in conflict. Now, what did I talk? Do you remember what I talked about yesterday about little kids? If they get frustrated, what happens? Do you remember? So I'll give it to you. If you look confused, don't worry. I'll just answer it. I can do it. So, have you ever seen a little kid get pissy? Maybe in a grocery store. It happens there a lot. I blame it on the music and the lighting. I mean, I do. Sometimes I feel that way too. And they pitch a fit. And they start pitching a fit. And they get louder and they get louder and louder. If we just let them do it, it'll be over. And they'll go back. And then you can hand them a toy or something to... If we can take their mind away from it, then we can do that, and sometimes it's just an expression of, or something like that, because then we make them laugh. If we can make them laugh, it'll stop. But if we try and force it, it won't work. Same goes for us. So sometimes we have something churning around, and I don't know why it happens when, it's like 2 a.m. and we have to get up really early the next day, and something's churning around of, did I pack this if I'm going on a trip, or maybe I'm going to do a presentation and I'm trying to remember something, or did I remember to change that one slide in my deck? And if I can just take my mind somewhere else. So for yogis in the middle of the night, a good thing is just go over to your meditation space and do some pranayama. That'll refocus you into somewhere else. And don't engage it. Don't wrestle with it. Why is this so important? Because it's interwoven with the physiology. We have layers. Are you familiar with the term koshas? Koshas, these are chakras. Chakras are anchors for koshas. What? I thought they were these dots along the spine. They're not. They're in another dimension. And we have layers. And this stuff we call me, my body, I. This is the meat puppet. This is the root chakra. This whole layer. And then we know about auras, right? We've heard about auras. Well, there's actually different layers that go out. The meat puppet is the smallest bit. And there's the emotional layer, that's the second chakra, and it anchors it. And then there's the intellectual layer. And that definitely interacts with the mind, and that's anchored by the third chakra. And then there's the heart chakra, and we could call that a spiritual layer. And then there's the throat chakra. So we've got earth, water, sways here in your hips. That's how you can remember. You got waves. That's the water, earth, because we're grounding, we're sitting on it, standing on it. And then fire, because this is where your digestion is. And then air. Isn't that weird that air is heart? When I was a little kid and I learned this, I was like, why is that air? I thought that would be maybe something sparky. And then space. And why is this one so important? Vishuddha chakra, when we have a thought, It does something, and I will definitely teach you that in a little bit, I promise. But I want you to stay quizzical about what's up with the throat chakra. And then the third eye, which actually has 2 chambers. But everything from space down, so space, air, fire, water, earth, these are gross elements. Space is the only one that's indelible. It won't break down. It won't decompose. And all the others come from it. So from space and the friction of space, we get air. From the friction of air, we get fire. This makes sense, right? Think about it. When you make friction, you get sparks. You can start a fire. And then from the friction of fire, this one might be weird, you get water. I think of a pot sweating. That's how I get that. Or steam, right? And then from the friction of water, we get earth. Think of ice. We don't really understand water scientifically. We don't understand why it can be vapor, it can be liquid, and it can be frozen. We don't really understand it. Science won't. They'll act like they do. You know, we know what's going on, but they don't really. We can't really explain it. But we're mostly water. We're vibration, right? We're a conduit. And that's a very feminine part of ourselves. And so all these thoughts that come out our throat go back into our big elephant ears. So every word we say affects us. Think about what's been going on in the world lately and the language that's been tossed around. And that's why I want us to all, remember I said if we can redirect the inner child and the focus, what I encourage you to do is just say love. You know, there's nothing else. If you can redirect, and even if you have to take your fingers and push the corners of your mouth up and lean your elbows on a surface and just go happy, 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 love, 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 love until you get over it. Because that'll do it. That'll do it. And that's a way of redirecting the mind. That is right there, mind taming, right there, in a nutshell. It's just we have to remember to do it. So why is it so important, do you think, to feel healthy? Why would it be good to feel and imagine that you're feeling good? Just, there's no wrong answers. There's never any wrong answers in anything I do. It's easier, it can be. It can be easier to be happy. But do you need to be healthy to be happy? No, you don't. Interesting. But if you're not healthy, it's a little more challenging to be happy. I agree. So that's why we spent some time already together this weekend, doing stuff to make us feel better, right? Because that's part, if the body's feeling more relaxed and our digestion is feeling good. And did you get a good night's sleep last night? Everybody who was in yesterday's session, did you sleep a little bit different last night? Did you digest a little bit different this morning? Did you notice? Awesome. I did. I totally did. So I'm very, very grateful. And so what could you imagine that the 3 pillars of health would be? These are indicators that I'm healthy. What do you think would be metrics? How would you measure it? And again, there's no wrong answers. What do you think? Just call it out. Positive thinking. What else? Energy. Regular poops, thank you. So that's digestion, right? Smooth digestion, easy digestion. What else? How would you measure? How would you know what's different from yesterday to today if you're feeling better today? What things would you look at that are metrics that are you can measure and say, I know I'm doing better today? What else? Lack of pain. What else? What is it? Ease. Okay. So what things in our world affect us? What types of things? Like if you look at your habits here when you're at Sivananda Ashram and you look at how you would have a regular day at home. And I realize we have a lot of things taken care of for us here, and we don't have to handle so much here, right? So that's our lifestyle, right? Lifestyle. So lifestyle, what are things that would determine what your lifestyle is? Any ideas? Work. What else? Environment, responsibilities, family. What about what you do for yourself? What types of things do you do for yourself? What do you do in your free time? Entertainment, music, movies, Netflix. I like Netflix. There's nothing wrong with producing some dopamine. You know what dopamine is? Dopamine's a happiness chemical that's secreted in your brain. And there's absolutely, don't get judgy on yourself. If it makes you laugh, that's good, right? If you feel bunched up, we were talking about fascia yesterday, but emotions can get bunched up and wrinkled up, right? So maybe we need to cry. Maybe we need to watch The Notebook or something like that again. Because we need to let it flow out. So lifestyle is one of the pillars. And in Ayurveda, which my second book, Unfolding Happiness, has an introduction to Ayurveda. These three pillars come from Ayurveda. And is everybody familiar with that word, Ayurveda? Most people think that Ayurveda is a health thing. It's actually a lifestyle thing. Did you know that Ayurveda is a sister to yoga? Did you know it's yoga's sister? And there's three sisters. So we've got yoga, Ayurveda. Who's the other? Anybody know? Any guess? It really is frustrating to me that our modern society is still not bringing the third sister in. It's astrology. It's Jyotisha. So these three sisters are the daughters of the Vedas. Do we know that word, the Veda? The Vedas are books of knowledge, of wisdom. And these are the three kids. They're three sisters. So let's start embracing astrology. So I'm an astrologer, and so you know the term body, mind, spirit, right? So Ayurveda, we could say, that's where we get the idea of body. Yoga, that's mind, because yoga is not stretchy pants, Lululemon. Put your foot behind your head. What are we? And this is what Sivananda yoga is all about. What is the main route that we're on here at Sivananda? What is yoga for? Mind, meditation, right? A better relationship with the mind, and to realize I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm the witness of the body and the mind. So when we're meditating, we're becoming the witness. And that's what's going on in that cave of meditation. You see, we can affect the first 5 chakras. We can't affect the third eye, and we can't affect the crown chakra. As Kundalini goes up the spine, when she gets past the throat, we have no control. So I just blew the whole idea of I'm opening my third eye. I just blew it. We have no control. We can't control an element in another dimension, or maybe we can, but not the way we think we can. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I want you to look at is if you have friends or people you love, or it's you, and you're not feeling well, and you're not happy, let's look at the lifestyle. When I worked in holistic health and I was working in clinics, if somebody came in that had been I was working in holistic health, so a lot of people had been diagnosed in Western traditional protocols. So they would come in with diseases like cancer, AIDS, and they were giving up. And it was frustrating when people would come in with stage 4 cancer. What was I going to do? It's hard. And it made me very, very, very sad because I wanted to help them. But I did my best, And a lot of people, it was just about making them comfortable to the end of their life and keeping them out from under fluorescent lighting and turning into pincushions so that they could be at home. But the first thing I would ask people is, what kind of books do you read? What kind of media are you soaking in? Are you watching TV? What's on the TV? I'm not against TV, obviously. I just admitted to Netflix, right? But if it's CNN over and over again, and news over and over again, and my goodness, I'm from USA, and we just went through an election. I'm not going there, just so you know. But I did my best to stay away from that, and if I allowed myself any of it, it was humor. That is the only way I'll digest any news. Digest any news. So the first thing we want to look at to measure ourselves, the first metric is lifestyle. And when we come to an ashram like Sivananda Ashram, we get to reboot our lifestyle. And it's tricky because if somebody's addicted, because it's easy to get addicted to different things. We're humans. We have a monkey mind. We have a lizard brain. We're animals, right? So we can get hooked on things. And it's tricky if you're dealing with yourself or someone else that's hooked on something. It's like diffusing a time bomb. So you have to be very careful which wire you're unplugging first. And it's easy. What else might be something that would really affect you besides the environment? Like the look of your place, the colors of your place, your music, all of that. We're done with that. Let's move on to something else. Think of another room in your house. Digestion. So what are you digesting? Food, right? Food, drink? Yeah. Diet. Uh-huh. I made that. That was something I ate. I like noodle bowls. So diet. But coming from holistic health, I have to say there's a lot more to it than just be vegan or just be vegetarian or just do this and just do that. And everybody's got their strong opinion, and I respect it. I was trained in traditional Chinese medicine before I was introduced to Ayurveda. I was trained in American folk herbs before that. And I was raised by a couple people that weren't the greatest cooks. But I used to watch Popeye. I don't know if anybody knows that cartoon. And Popeye used to eat spinach. And I got hooked. My first addiction was Jolly Green Giant cream spinach, which is palak or saag if you know Indian food. And I mean, I think that's where I got this from, because I was hooked on spinach. I didn't want their food. I just wanted that. And I learned how to make it when I was about 6 years old. I stood on a little chair and I boiled a pot of water and I put the little package in and let it get heated up and squeezed it out in a bowl. And I did not want your food, thank you very much. I honor that you like this stuff, but it doesn't smell right to me. And they were like fine with it, so our freezer was always packed with that. And I would watch Popeye and eat my spinach. I was very happy. So that's just my little story about diet. Have I tried different things? I absolutely have. I was a vegan for 27 years, staunch vegan. Staunch. Super anemic at that time. Super anemic. I studied with Peter Dodimo, who wrote Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I studied with him. He taught me all about parasites. He taught me a lot. Back then, he only had 4 blood groups. Now there's 8. Because each has a secretor or a non-secretor. You can learn about this for free on my website. There's a course called The 4 Keys to a Healthy Diet. I'm not telling you what to eat at all. The worst thing we can ever do to someone is say, don't eat that, or eat this, or you should. Let's just make a pact. We're never going to should on anyone. And don't should on yourself. And don't step in should either. So diet, that's another way. What do you think the third way is to tell if we're happy, healthy, relaxed, peaceful? What could be the third if we have diet and lifestyle? What else would tell you I'm doing well today because... I've even asked some of you about this morning when I saw you. Sleep. Sleep. So these are the three ways we can measure happiness and health. And if we're happy and we're healthy, we're going to have a much easier path to taming the mind. So these are the three secret bits. Questions about this at all? Nothing? I'm making that much sense? That's amazing. All right. And it makes perfect sense that sleep would tell you, yes, please. Let's use happy. Because you don't have, because healthy, what if somebody has a disease? Right? Some of the happiest people I knew were dying. They were accepting. They were peaceful. If they had a good sleep or a good poop, and that, they were having a great day. They already knew they were on their way out. Look, there's guarantees in life. Don't take this harsh, okay? Try and just take this in with some compassion and love. But if you're born, that's a doorway you come in. So what's the other doorway? You go out, right? So we know it. If we're here in a meat puppet, we know at some point the meat puppet will be behind. But do we die? No. We've heard, I am a spiritual being having a human existence, right? That's an explanation of this, right? But we don't know because we're here, because we're experiencing karmas and things and each other. And our best bet is to stay in the moment. I've been working as a professional psychic since phones had curly cords. Okay? You know those? You know those? I mean, people would call and I didn't know who was calling. Yeah, can you imagine? And we were excited. We ran to the phone. Hello? Who is this? Right? It was so exciting. And then there were answering machines. It got a little less exciting. Now it's not exciting at all. Now it's like, I don't want to, I'm blocking that. Come on. Let's be compassionate. So the whole thing is we all have that ability. We all have that ability. One of the great things about not having allium plants, onions, garlic, leeks, like we don't have any here, you probably notice it, is that those have a sulfuric neurotoxin in them that kills the psychic part of your brain and also disturbs, and that's the same part of the brain and the same place where meditation does really well. Now, just taking it a little further, if you're carrying around a cell phone, I don't know where mine is, it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. Yeah, if you're carrying around a cell phone, those are emitting electromagnetic currents all the time, right? And there are, expensive stickers and things you can put on them to, absorb stuff. But actually selenite or satin gypsum will absorb it. I carry a little piece when I carry, because we all carry our phones. I mean, mine tells me how many steps I take. I don't wear the thing here, and I'm a little addicted to that. I'll admit my addictions, and my quirks. But anything that emits electromagnetic currents and frequencies is going to interact with the sulfuric neurotoxins in allium plants. Some of you are making stink face. I apologize for enlightening you on this and turning this light of knowledge on. And that actually is killing part of your brain. So I do recommend if here's some things about sleep. I have a sleep course on my site. That one's not free, but if you want to take it, just write me a message and I'll give you a big discount on it if you want to take the sleep course. But the other courses there are free right now. I did an experiment. I used to read in bed. I used to love to read in bed, books. Not electronics, but books. And I would fall asleep with the book on me, and that I loved it. It made me happy. But I was a very, very light sleeper. During the lockdown years, the couple of years, I was talking to a friend of mine over in Europe a lot, and he just loves to dive into every weird conspiracy theory. You have a friend like that? I mean, this guy's a podcaster, and I mean, he's all over the place, and I adore him. And he said, I unplugged everything in my bedroom. I got rid of it. I went, oh, cool. He said, I'm sleeping better. I went, really? Because when I was building the sleep course, I was asking sleepless people, questions so I could build this course. And I was a light sleeper. Now, when I was a musician and I was playing in rock bands, I would get home right before sunrise. So I learned about blackout curtains. So if light's coming in, which is a little challenging, for me, like my room here, there's outdoor lights. Not my happy place. I'm dealing with it. But honestly, there's a part of me going, I can't wait to get back to my dark space. Did I sleep well last night? Yeah. But it's challenging, to even a little light beam, the smoke detector, I put black tape on. It drives me nuts. If I'm in hotel rooms, I put towels over the clocks or I unplug whatever I can. But I had these two lamps, these little lamps on the wall behind me to read, right? I unplugged them. I got rid of the extension cord. I'm sleeping better because it was running under the head of my bed. I'm just saying. Now, if you live in a small space and you've got your router and your computers and everything, it's hard because you don't want to be turning those on and off all the time. But if you can have zero electronics, I don't take my cell phone in my bedroom unless I'm using it as an alarm. And if so, it's on no Wi-Fi and it's on airplane mode. That's the safest way to have it near you. Because if it's constantly looking for signals, it's bringing more of that activity in. So these are just some tips for better sleep. Anybody have any questions about anything I've talked about so far? And you're welcome to stop me and go back to something I may have talked about. If something comes up, I want to be able to address it right when it happens. So you learned this in kindergarten. Hopefully you did. So a lot of the stuff I share is what I wish we learned in kindergarten, like what we've talked about already. And your five senses of sight and vision, breathing and smelling, hearing and listening, speech and taste, your ability to chew and digest food, and feeling and touch, these are all connected with your five senses. Makes sense so far, right? Senses, yeah. You can laugh at my jokes so I don't feel like such a dork. Thank you. These are super important. And then there's the sixth sense of knowing. So in the morning, before I open my eyes, I have this little ritual I do before I do the belly massage. And we will do that when we do the relaxation. I'm going to add a couple things in. That was just a pantomime of what I'm going to be teaching you because part of you took it in and already learned it like that quick. I'm lying in my bed. Let's say the alarm went off or the bell rang. Or let's say I just woke up, on my own, which is the best way to sleep, is when you can sleep until the body says, okay, it's time to get up. And if you don't have to run and pee right away, then if you can just, with your eyes still shut, I'll say, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. That's a Ganesha mantra. And I'll do that 3 times, and then I'll say, thank you. And I do say the G word. I say God. I say, thank you, God, for bringing me back to this body for one more day. Thank you for returning my senses and faculties of sight and vision, hearing and listening, breathing and smelling, speech and taste, my ability to chew and digest food, feeling and touch, and my sixth sense of knowing. And then I say the Emil Quay phrase, which I don't know if you were here when Ruben was here. He did mention it, but he pronounced Emil Quay's name a little differently. And Emil Quay, there's a course that the Chaitanyas teach on occasion about the mind, and I highly recommend it on Zoom. Yep, I just plugged an online course because it's great. And if you don't know who Emil Quay is, I learned this from an early meditation teacher that we called Bhante, which means beloved father. And he was a Cambodian monk who was buddies with Gandhi. Bhante, when I met Bhante, he was 103 years old. That's when I started meditating with him. And he used to sit and he would project this liquidy green light in the space. And we would sit. He was called the Monk of Green. And we would sit bathed in green light. When he got a little older, he actually went into a coma for a while and came out of it. And then he went back to Asia with an attendant who was a dear friend of mine. They were flying over to India, and he said they were like halfway there in the air, and Bhante suddenly, he had been sick. I mean, they had been doing colonics and all this stuff and healing, all kinds of healing. I was even part of it. I was a Bhante sitter. And one day, I was left alone with Bhante, which was awesome. And basically, I was just there to make him comfortable. He was obviously out of the coma, but he was coughing. He had phlegm, and I mean, he was 107, I think, or 6 at the time, 106, and he lived to be 109. I wrote about him in Unfolding Happiness. There's a little, this bit's in there. All my books are on my website under books. It's pretty easy. Willow, who was in charge of all the Bhante sitters, was also taking care of some elderly people, and she had an elderly woman who wanted to come and meet Bhante, and she was this little lady, and I was there, and I could hear them come in the house, and this is how fast the lady was walking. And Bhante's over here, and I'm trying to get Bhante to lean up with more pillows, so I'm like, getting Bhante up, and she's walking over to see him, and she gets close, and I get him up, and their heads are like here, and she goes, "So, tell me something." And Bhante says, come here. And so we're getting her head down and his mouth up so that he's right here, and she's listening, and he says, "Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better." "What?" she says. And he says, "Come here." And she comes down again. "Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better." And this went on until Willow and I started, he's like, telling us to do it. So we start chanting, "Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better." And we're singing and we're dancing, and the little old lady is now singing and dancing and tapping her cane. And Bhante's conducting us like we're an orchestra, and everybody's laughing. And then years go by, and I take this course online. And it's Swami Sivananda said this was perfect, a perfect mantra in English or other languages. And he said, the only thing is, it's missing God. Now, have you heard of the Silva mind theory? Have you heard of Mind Valley, Vishen Lakhiani? So Vishen decided to add another better. So he says it every day and every way, I'm getting better and better and better. And when I took Silva mind theory with him, I thought, that doesn't feel right. It's missing something maybe, but that didn't feel right to me. And then Swami Shivananda said, add the idea of God in. And it just blew my mind, to add the idea of God in, because it shifted the energy. The art of Alex Gray. When I taught holistic health, I used these pictures to teach people the elements in the body, the meridians, the chakras, the systems of lymphatic and veins and arteries and bones, and that one in the middle is genius. And then what you really look like over on the right, the energy. So we talk about that egg of energy. I think Alex really had and has a gift. But when he painted these, he had a gift. He started as a medical illustrator. A lot of people don't realize that. So I think this is a great way to depict it. I highly recommend, if you don't want to buy his books, go on a bookstore or a library if they have them and sit down and look at them, because they'll speak to you at deep, deep levels. And when you strip the surface away and you see we really are all the same stuff. I mean, it's just a tiny 0.00% of what makes even us as females different from men. You know, we're just to sit, peel it away. We're the same stuff, but look what's underneath. We're all that. We're all. That's the elements. Did you not take chemistry? It's okay. Maybe maybe some of us slept through chemistry. But that's the periodic table. But it's all in you. You got it all, and some of it's in your food, and then we've got we can see the egg orb around the human form, the human-like form in the middle, and then the meridians. Those are the surface points. When we talk about meridians are on the surface, but they have deep different areas they go, and I think a lot of people that talk about pressure points don't really understand how they move. Sue, who was here with us yesterday, I did a little bit of fascia, and you can talk to her about it. You can ask her, because she was pretty mind blown on it. All of this affects our relationship with the mind, and it's super, super important. So after I do the sight and all, I thank my senses. Then I still keep my eyes closed, and I say 7 times, and if you want to tell me I'm OCD, fine. It's just a habit I've created. I don't think I'm OCD at all, but I have some people get judgy on me but I mean, this is just my ritual, right? Is a ritual obsessive? Hopefully, if it's a good one, right? Yeah. Huh? I hope so. I think it's weird. It's like my trauma. I'm like, no, that's your trigger. Your trigger feels traumatic, but okay, let's not go there. Every day, in every way, I am. I suggest you say I am, and when you say it, think big I, big AM, big A, big AM, right? All big letters. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better by your grace, God. Or you could put the every day and every way by the grace of you, God. I would talk to God directly if that feels comfortable. You can put it anywhere in the sentence you want. But take the class, because you'll learn all the nuances of how to create these types of positive phrases, of masterful phrases. And now I'm going to teach you the most powerful mantra way to build your own personal stuff is to have I am, and don't use a verb. Use a noun. I'll say it again. Don't use a verb, nothing with ing, because that's becoming, you want to be it. So instead of saying I am healthy, say I am great health. If you want to manifest a relationship, instead of saying I am relating, or I am having, I'm calling in a perfect partner, that's still happening. I am love relationship. You see the difference? Feel the difference? Prosperity is a big one. People, how do I manifest? How do I do this? I am prosperity. I am packed, full, treasury. You can add a few other words, but you see the difference? That's super powerful stuff right there. You totally. Question? No. Okay. You can lie down. Of course you can. You can sleep. Yeah, so there's no rule in when I'm teaching or talking. If you need to close your eyes or even sleep, you're still getting it. And even when I taught junior high, that was the same rule in my classrooms. That and most of the time, people didn't want to sleep. But if you're exhausted, you never have to apologize. And I didn't give permission at the beginning of class. So thank you for reminding me. So our relationship with the mind is what we have all been talking about so far, and the things that we can do in order to create a better relationship. Words have power, and I've given you some really great examples of them. Right? So we learned how the masculine side can appease and appeal to the feminine side, and then the secret that the masculine side needs to learn about what the feminine side needs and desires is she wants to know, what are you thinking, what are you feeling, and what's your intention, or where is this going? And 99.9999% of the time, when somebody comes to me with relationship questions, it boils down to that. It's that simple. And it's the same in friendship, it's the same in families, it's the same in business. So with whatever type of relationships you have in the world, you just learned the whole secret key. Mantras, when we chant mantras, if we don't chant to Ganesha first, we have sacred keys. We might even see the door we want to unlock. Maybe we're chanting to Lakshmi. We want prosperity. Lakshmi, we have to remember, stuff flows out of her hands. It just keeps flowing. So there's some differences there. But it doesn't matter. If you want transformation and you're chanting Om Namah Shivaya, or you want more peace, and like we chanted to Ganesha this morning, which is one of my favorite kirtan-style chants. That's probably my top favorite, other than just saying Gam, which is his seed sound. And that is so important. So if you say a chant to Ganesha first, you've got the keys, you see the door, now you can get the key in the lock. But if you don't chant to Ganesha first and you're just haphazardly chanting mantras, then you're standing at the door, you're jiggling a set of keys, you never get the key in the door, and you certainly don't open it. So that's another key. Remember to always chant to Ganesha. And that goes back to the story I told yesterday about Shiva and Parashakti, because she said, we are always going to chant to Ganesha first. So there's the rest of that story. So how does stuff get into the mind? Energy comes in and it comes down into the heart. It mixes with the air element. It comes up into space. And the Sanskrit word for space is akasha. People say akasha in English. It's akasha. And it comes through space, which is indelible, right? Think if you get indelible marker on a white outfit or the wall, you can't, you have to paint over it, right? It's still there. So it's indelible. So a spark of a thought comes in, it starts to become a thought in the air, it comes up through space, it comes out the mouth, and then it goes back into your ears. And then it's in the internet of fascia in your body, and it's speaking to every organ. Make sense? Awesome. So words are the construction crew of the mind. Does that make sense? Awesome. Now I've got a little entertainment for you. You might want to watch this. You don't have to sit up as long as you can see the screen. So we might understand yantras, which are like mandalas. We call them mandalas. And these are actually frozen sound. And we now learned how our sound is so important. The words we say, especially when we speak with an I am in the sentence, or the other one we want to be very mindful of is the word always. Because if we punctuate sentences with the word always, guess what we're creating? Whatever it was. So this is always happening. Guess what? You're making it happen. So this is, when we have frozen sound, we can actually measure it with cymatics. So a lot of these very mystical looking mandalas, we're now going to understand how they're constructed.
The film you're about to see has no characters. If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter. everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound.
Pretty potent, huh? So Nigel licensed it to me so I can use it in talks, and I can definitely direct you to it. If you want to share it with others, just make sure you contact me. We did an experiment already, but I wanted you to see this slide because it has an image of the Shri Yantra that I drew in it. So when we chant Om, the cymatic image of it is this with all these triangles. But it's actually 3D. This is the two-dimensional depiction of it. So now that you understand cymatics, like a good scientist and explorer, now you can understand the symbol and the sound from another dimensional view. Neuroplasticity is something we've been hearing a lot about. And what are neural pathways? Imagine, did anybody ever drive in LA or around a big city like Rome at rush hour? So you can get stuck in the flow of traffic, right? So thoughts in the brain can get really jumbled up, and then we can get on a highway with it, and that's where the always phrase comes from. And we can see signposts to get off to find an exit, but sometimes the exit ramps are blocked. Sometimes there is no exit ramp and we have to build one. So to become neuroplastic and create neuroplasticity is to create new, I'm going to call them off-ramps, from churning thought. Is that good visual for you? That's really all you need to know about neuroplasticity. To be more plastic means to be more fluid. And we saw that. Now, I mean, isn't that profound? All the elements. If you think about your words, one word, one thought, because we even saw how electricity which is space stuff, that's plasma, right? Plasma is another aspect of water. And what are we mostly made out of? Water, right? And now we very profoundly understand how everything we do is affecting everything else. You might have remembered I said my favorite quote yesterday from the Roman statesman Cicero: everything is alive, everything is interconnected. And now we have the visuals to go with it. So when we've got thoughts that are just going over and over and over and over, it's like a hamster running on a wheel. And you can't get off. But yes, have you ever watched anything run on a wheel? Like those cat wheels, those are pretty cool. And what do? They just stop and get off. They know how to get the off-ramp. This is what I want us all to understand and create with our own thoughts. And for us to, that shows that we're in the witness state and that we are non-reactive and we are simply understanding that something's happening, and then we just get off the wheel. And the more you practice it, I promise, the easier it gets. So an experiment that we can do, and we do this, we don't have to do this. I'm gonna have you lie down in a couple minutes and relax. But I just wanted to give you these, just to get a taste, is to just sit up straight, close your eyes, and notice your breath. This is the directions of how to meditate. Could it be more confusing and abstract? Maybe, maybe not. I liked Swamiji last night, the Swami that was leading us. He said something very sensual about feeling the breath in the inside of the nostrils. That's good. I've had students go, I can't focus on my breath, and I say that's fine. Can you notice the temperature of the air coming in and out? And if we say focus on the breath, maybe could you feel the inside of your nostrils and get a little sensation there, and then see if you can feel the air going in and out. If not, stick your whole finger up your nose, because, we did stuff like this and twisting and everything. So I just want to show you a couple things before we lie down, because really everything goes back to love, right? Positive thought always has the ability to cancel out a negative thought, but then it's just being able to find the off-ramp or build the off-ramp. So we're going to do the belly massage again when you're on your back. We're going to start, we're not going to do it yet, I just want to demonstrate it. It's going to be upper left, and you can touch your body while we're doing this so you get a sense of it. Upper left is the stomach spleen, it's the splenic flexure, and we're going to slide down the left side. And then we're going to find the sigmoid colon. Then we're going to slide lightly across here, because this is mostly small intestine, and this goes over to the ileocecal valve on the right. Then we can go with a dig coming up to the right side. And then we're going to go on the center, which is a little, it's actually about 3 fingers. If you take your 3 fingers, because your measurement is for you, and right at the top, so if I'm doing ring, middle, and index, if I put that right in the middle of my navel, where that top is, and then the same thing on the bottom. So I'm going to say above the navel, below the navel. And if you don't get exactly in the spot, you're not doing damage, nor are you missing it, especially if you're using all your fingers. Then we're going to squeeze the right ribs. So when you're lying on your back, it'll be easy. We're going to take a couple breaths there. Then we're going to squeeze the left ribs. But we're also going to slide around and down a little bit, so your thumb is on your, this will help your spleen and your immune system. And then, another great thing for pelvic floor, bladder, continence, reproductive organs, is you can take your fingers on your pubic bone and just pull up lightly. And you can even squeeze your butt cheeks a little bit. And we'll just breathe there. And then for the thyroid and the throat chakra, because we've definitely put a lot of intense thinking on it, we're going to pull down a little bit with one hand and up with the other. Gentle, gentle. Remember, fascia wants us to be really gentle. And you can use the little crook in your finger, and we're just kind of stretching it apart. Because if we can find, and you can go up near your throat, Nate. Yeah, so one is down, locked in around your collarbone, and then the other is up here. And then we're just going to put right hand on the heart and left hand on the head to give yourself some love and compassion. And if the mind wanders, what I want you to do is just think happy or love. All right? Can we have the lights down, Raj, please? Thank you. So get cozy and comfy. Does anybody need any extra pillows? Everybody's good? Are we having fun? I haven't checked in for a while, so I want to make sure. Rock around and feel the surface underneath of you. And notice what it feels like to be supported by the floor of this beautiful space we're in. And let's take a deep breath in after we exhale first. So exhale and pull the belly down, pull the navel into the mat. And then making space, really pull it down. Exhale, blow that last bit of air out. And then inhale in. And let's say, ah. Let's do that again. Deep breath in. Ah. One more time. Deep breath in. Ah. And now let's say, ooh. Deep breath in. Ooh. Let's ooh 2 more times. Another breath. Ooh. And you can hold the same note or you can slide. Whatever feels fun. More fun. Deep breath in. Ooh. And now let's say with the teeth apart and letting the lips buzz and tickle the nose. Deep breath in. The yummiest sound you can make. Deep breath in. One more time. Deep breath in. Now let's do the one where we pull it up into the center of the head. You can let the teeth touch on this. Keep breathing while I'm talking, please. And a little smile. And see if you can imagine that sound going from the buzzing of the lips up into the center of the head. Exhale. And then deep breath in. 2 more times. Inhale deeply. One more time. Deep breath in. Taking your hands and bringing them together. You can even clap them and then start rubbing them together and let your breathing just return to relax. So getting some friction in your hands, little clapping. With your hands apart, open and close your fingers so you're tapping the meaty part under your thumbs. That's the mound of Venus. So getting some love because she's the goddess of love and she's in your palms right there, opening and closing the fingers on both hands, tapping the big pad under the thumbs, and then thumbs to the pad under the pinkies, opening and closing under the pinkies, the pad below the pinky in the palm, and then grabbing the air, grasping the air, grasping, 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 and then flicking, 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 flicking like you're flicking water off your fingers. Good. Shake your hands out. Pat yourself down, one arm, both sides, and then the other arm. And now on your chest with fingertips, just kind of drumming on your chest and all down your belly and sides and wherever you can reach. If you want to lift a leg up and do it, you can, but you don't have to. And when you're ready, take your hands, your fingers, and put them in the upper left-hand corner of your belly, under the ribs, and just press in. Doesn't have to be really strong, but it can be. It's perfectly acceptable, whatever's comfortable for you. And just take a couple breaths there and just relax and feel what it feels like. So we did eat just recently, not so recently, but be gentle with your digestive organs on this. And then slide with a little bit of pressure down into the lower left, just above the hip bone, kind of halfway in between. If we drew a diagonal line from your navel down to your hip bone. And you might find a spot. It might be a little above or below or lateral to that. And then lighten up the touch and slide across to the right side. Again, on that diagonal line, you can put your finger in your navel, draw down to your hip, and you'll find the spot. It'll magically attract your fingers and then dig in there. And it could just be a steady press. It can be very gentle. And then you can definitely dig your way up into the upper right belly. And we'll just go to the center now, 3 fingers above the navel. And you might feel a thumping feeling on these center points, and then 3 fingers below the navel. And you might feel like somebody's flicking your fingers from the inside. And then let's do it again, upper left. Lower left. Across to the right, lightening up from the sigmoid colon to the ileocecal valve, up the ascending colon to the liver flexure, sliding across the transverse colon to the splenic flexure in the upper left. And let's go around one more time around the outside, down to the lower left, sliding across to the lower right, up to the upper right, and then 3 fingers above the navel and 3 fingers below the navel. And you can go around these with slowness or speed, whatever feels good. And when you do this in the morning before you get out of bed, this will definitely help release what's in your colon. It will help a lot. Now take your right hand and feel your lower ribs and wrap your fingers and your thumb around with your elbow out to the side on the right side, and just hold it, and let's exhale. And then we'll take 3 breaths in without exhaling. So we'll breathe in, then a little more, then breathe in some more. Hold, and then exhale. And feel how the ribs rise and fall. Let's do that again. Inhale. Inhale again. Inhale again. And exhale. Let's do that one more time. Inhale in. A little bit more. A little bit more. And exhale. Release that arm down. Relax it. Let's find the left ribs with the left hand. Get a good squeeze on the ribs. And this will even reset your ribs. Sometimes they get a little bit wonky, out of alignment. This will help release the muscles and the fascia. It's really the fascia we're talking to. So squeezing in on the left, and let's do a 3-stage breath there. Inhale, and then a little bit more inhale. Feeling the ribs rise up, and then one more. Hold, and then exhale. And you can say ah or Let's do that 2 more times on the left. 3-stage breath on your own pace. Ah, one more. Inhaling in. Again, inhaling in. Inhaling more. And then sliding the thumb down and towards the spine. It stays on the left side of the spine. You'll find a little notch where it wants to go in the back with your fingers wrapped around your ribs. That's it. And then just holding that. You can do 3-stage if you want, or you can just relax and feel it. Notice how it does feel different than the right side. It's quite fascinating. And now take both hands. I like to use both hands, all my fingers, and right on your pubic bone. Right on top of your pubic bone. And you're just going to pull up a little bit towards your chest. And you can squeeze your buttocks, cheeks if you like, but you don't have to. Just feeling what it feels like to gently lift up on the fascia around the pubic bone. Just with a steady pull, and just hold it there. And then gently release that. Take one hand, it could be your right hand, and find around your throat, your thyroid. And if you want, you can take your left hand underneath and gently pull down so it's almost like you're separating the areas of your neck. And relax. Beautiful. Take your right hand, put it in the center of your chest on your amazing, beautiful heart space. Put your left hand on the top of your head, on your crown chakra. And you can say with your own voice, I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am brilliance. I am light. I am love. I am acceptance. I am prosperity. I am generosity. I am compassion. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am love. I am love. I am love. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Tat tvam asi. Tat tvam asi. Tat tvam asi. Letting your hands drift down to your sides, letting yourself just melt into the floor for these moments of relaxation. Let all the sensations of the ideas and thoughts that you just experienced in our time together swirl around. Let them make you smile. Little corners of the mouth turning up. Imagine the elements of earth in your flesh body. The water that rocks in the endless lake that resides in between your hips. The fire in your belly. The air that you fly on in your heart. The infinite space of your throat. And the cosmic elements above. Knowing now the images and pictures that you paint with the positive words and thoughts, because it's the thoughts that come down into the heart space that turn into the words that are the construction crew of the mind. Your index finger is you as the student, the disciple, the seeker. The thumb is the guru. Let the index finger bow down to the center of the pad of each thumb. So the tip of the index finger is touching the center of the pad of each thumb, bowing down to the guru in you. Because the word guru, when we spell it, is G. You are you. You are infinite space. You are love. You are peace. Now in this place of bliss, Ananda, all things are righted. choose to sprout the positive seeds that reside in this thin layer of the Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss body. With your hands like this in Chin Mudra, you are connected to all that is, to the goodness, the love, the peace. Dive into the cave of meditation in the center of the skull, entering in and turning to face the dark screen of the inside of the forehead. As if an endless IMAX movie is projected there, let the images of love be all that you see. And if it's not visual, let it be however it is. Let it begin to rain down the beautiful liquid of ojas, of happiness, as it fills the entire area of the skull, the head, and even beyond the physical body. Let it rain down through the third eye, from the love from above, and let it come down through the throat chakra, Vishuddha. Let it continue down to nourish the lotus in the center of your chest in Anahata, the heart chakra. And let that lotus open up and the petals quiver in joy and love. And let it rain down and wash the glistening city at the top of your belly. Let it continue down and fill the lake that rocks between your hips and overflow down into the root of you and down into the earth, nourishing all that is. With the sensation of love, wrap your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug and start rocking yourself like the beautiful baby you are. Gently, gently, giving yourself a hug, giving yourself that love, locking it in there, making a pact with yourself. And when you're ready, keeping the eyes closed, roll over to your right side. Slowly making your way over there. Gentle, gentle. Pausing here just for a moment to notice how peaceful the heart is and how quiet the mind is. And using the strength of your arms, you can lift yourself up to a seated position, keeping the eyes closed. Easing your way up. Bringing your hands into Anjali Mudra, the prayer position. 2 hands together. Bowing down to your heart space, bowing down to the beauty in you as I bow down in deep gratitude, thanking you for coming to join me today. And with the corners of the mouth turned into a little smile, gently float the head up. As I chant our closing mantra, you can Om with me. Aum. 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Peace Peace, peace. Om Bolo Sakuru Swami Sivananda Maharaja Ki Jai. Om Bolo Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaja Ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much. Thank you.